I want to make a few comments about politics. I ran for state legislator twice. I did okay for not having any money. I did actually pretty good the last time. And the big objective is we needed to get the incumbent out of office. And we achieved that. And the issue is we have a problem in this district with a big, basically, it's a sanctuary county. And there's this big area called Colony Ridge, which I don't think it's been dealt with yet, but this is it's a big magnet for human trafficking, and the Harris brothers, who are behind this probably this criminal scheme, are trying to attract. They're actually recruiting people or advertising for people who are crossing the border illegally to come here. It's been a big drain on our county too. Almost straining all of our resources to breaking point. But when Biden seized power, or Obama and the people behind him, it's a very, very difficult time for our country, and we need fighters. We desperately need fighters. And for a lot of people, look at it and say, well, it's been really good. And even though the Democrats are trying to destroy Trump, kill Trump, destroy the Republican Party, that time was a time of trial and purging. And now Trump has got a very Trump understands politics and how to get things done. He was effective in his first term, but even more so now, and that he was able to take everything that they threw at him. But a lot of his supporters, including me, were hurt. As of January 6th, I think that I didn't do anything wrong or illegal. And they're trying to portray it that way, and I think people understand now what was really going on. But one of the things is even Fox News not having Trump on their network for almost the entire 4 years of the Biden administration, trying to vilify and demonize Trump supporters and January Sixers like myself. But we need, I did a message about this yesterday, and honestly, my big focus is not engaging in politics. It's preaching the gospel and scholarship. I'm writing my books on the apostles. I got my Abdius of Babylon series out. Some of the books I'm writing, including, I'm doing the Three Pillars of Faith, which is a study on James the Just, Peter, and John. So I'm working on these different projects, my art projects, and that's what I want to do is the Lord's work. And I do think that we need Christians engaged in politics. But the problem we have is, we need people of principle. What bothers me is you get people wear religion on their sleeves, like Mike Pence or Mike Johnson, and they turn out to be total frauds, right? We need men of principle and conviction, and we need people who they aren't concerned about going to the parties or hobnobbing with people. They just want to do the right thing. And people in politics who see themselves as servants to the people, who go there to get stuff done, not to be famous or make a name for themselves or meet people, or have people think well of them, but just to do the right thing. And see, that's the problem here, just with Republican politics in general. And one of the other things I like about Trump is he's able to show all the rhinos, Republicans name only, out the door. We don't need these people in our party anymore. If they're Democrats, they need to go. Like Bales. Bales is obviously, he was going to turn Texas blue rally. And part of the reason why I ran against him was I felt attacked and threatened by him. It's like, oh, you have the temerity to run against me. I'll teach you a lesson. And he did. He's into architecture and education. And so he had this network, and it's incredible where he got Republican people knowing he's got a bad record. They're going to vote for him anyway because he's a good old boy. Well, he's a Democrat. He's not a Republican. He's hurting the party. Well, I know his mama. He's lived in this area for a while. He's a good old boy, so I'm going to vote for him. It's just surprising. It's like, okay, don't you understand what's going on with their country? See, that's part of the reason, in a certain level, it's like, I'd rather just be preaching and teaching, doing scholarship and research and history and all that stuff, and not be concerned about politics. But it's important. It's important because the left is Marxist, and I mean, just what's going on in England is the things it's going on over here too. I know. I built up a YouTube channel. I had 5,000 subscribers, and you can look at my content on my videos now, and it's no different from what I had back then. Most of it's non-controversial, just Bible studies, and yet they took my channel down anyway because in 5% or less of your videos you voice support for President Trump. So I built up a channel. I had a moderately successful YouTube channel. They censored me. So we have censorship. Dude. It's amazing. Trump just had this meeting with these people like Mark Zuckerberg and others and around this round table that try to Google YouTube, which YouTube's owned by Google. Now Twitter's totally changed, but it was awful. Awful. Loss of free speech in this country. And in England now they arrested a stand-up comic. It's like over 12,000 arrests a year for expressing, I guess, an opinion about migration and immigration. That'll get you in jail over in England. I guess it shows they feel threatened. This is one of the bases of their power and their plans. And just like they felt threatened by Trump, look what they threw at him. Everything, including the kitchen sink, and a bullet. They threw a bullet at him. But God preserved him, and I hope things change in England too. But that's what they wanted. And look at Canada, all these problems. See, the United States of America, the Democrat Party. I don't want it to be true, but it is true. They're Marxists. They want to destroy Christianity. Look at all this transgender. It's radicalism. They're extreme, and the Republicans are so weak and insipid. They don't want to stand up on convictions and principles, or even be associated with, in a meaningful way with the Bible teaches, traditional Christian values. So it's imperative for Christians to engage the political system to protect our rights. It's like, oh, well, I'm just evangelical Christian. They won't let you live out your faith. They won't let you practice it. They won't let you evangelize or speak out on it. The Democrats don't want you're not allowed to say what anything that disagrees with the Democrat Party platform. I mean, to dare to, I mean, what are they talking about? What do they call it? They call it the intellectual infrastructure. They want to control what you think, what you're allowed to think, what you're allowed to say. It's a totalitarian, oppressive system, and it's a threat to our faith, our freedoms, our human rights. And we need to defeat the Democrat Party again and again and again until they moderate, because it's a threat. Do you want do you want to go to jail in the United States for liking or sharing a post like what's going on in England right now? And those things were going on. Look what they closed down churches during COVID. We cannot let these people get away with what they did. We're going to hold these people accountable. The horrible things that we suffered past 4 years, and Obama's running the country to ground through his little sock puppet Biden, and it's just so many horrible things. And where are our voices? Where are our men of conviction? And part of the reason why they hate Trump so much is because he does push back. They don't want people standing up, pushing back, and defying the system. They just want to go along to get along and just have a managed decline. It doesn't have to be that way. So, and look what's going on in Austin right now. They are addressing some important things. Having all these one special session after another. But the fact of the matter is, I can't run for office again. I don't have any money. I'm just in financial duress, and it's just what happened. And I don't regret it. The second time, especially, is a good experience running. I got a lot of votes. But what about Janice Holt? Well, you got to look at these things objectively. Probably what would have happened if, Governor Abbott, who's a moderate, not really, I mean, he's okay, I guess. I think we need more strong, vigorous leadership. He's acceptable, I guess. We should expect more for people, and he should give more than he does. He's done some good things. But he came and he endorsed Janice Holt, and here in Liberty County, Bales had these tentacles. But two things hurt him. One was Colony Ridge, and he's exposed for his involvement in that, and secondly, the endorsement of Governor Abbott and him coming down and campaigning for her, for Janice Holt. So that turned the tides. Probably what was going to happen is I was probably going to get 25% of the vote, and Janice might have gotten 25% of the vote. We might have got him into a runoff, possibly. Right, that's probably what would have happened, and then it would have been Janice Holt versus Bales in the runoff. But in the end, what happened is, because of the endorsement, Janice Holt was able to win it outright. It's just I felt like I had to push back. I felt threatened by Bales. You got to stand up for yourself sometime. Plus, Janice Holt's not a bad person, but she's not. We need more assertive and aggressive leadership. The Democrats have their aggressive leaders. People aren't afraid to stand up. And one of the things here's an example of things that bother me. I was listening to like Sean Hannity show, and they had the same idiot call again and again and again. Oh, if we want to win elections, we can't talk about social issues. Don't talk about social issues. Don't talk about social issues. And you hear that, all these people yelling and screaming because they don't want, Rush Limbaugh had this story. He was at one of these stupid cocktail parties with a bunch of Republicans, and he says there's a big name. It's probably Bush, probably W. Bush himself, or Dick Cheney, or Mitt Romney, one of those ilk, one of these guys. And he goes up to Rush and just stabs him real hard with the finger on his chest. Rush, what are you going to do about those born-again, evangelical Bible thumpers? They're an embarrassment to our party. You got to do something about them, And so Rush told that story. I should have named the names of whoever it was, but it's obviously, he said, is a household name. If I told you the name of this person, he was just filled with hatred for Bible-believing Christians. Everybody knows the name of this politician. Like I said, probably Bush or Cheney, or Romney or McCain. Wouldn't surprise me. But it's like, oh, don't talk about socialists. Don't talk. That turns people away. And then Obama becomes president. All he talks about is left wing extreme, like transgenderism, dudes in the little girls' room, and he's pushing all that stuff, pushing radical Islam. And not a peep of opposition or pushback from the Republican Party at all. And like I think one of they're like the Republican Party is like the Washington Generals. They play to lose. That's their role. We need men of conviction and principle who are willing to stand up for our country, because this Marxist ideology is going to destroy. What about our kids? Look what they're doing to our. Just even with this, probably 30 million illegal aliens coming across the border in the 4 years of Joe Biden's. We can't. The country cannot. I was talking to people. It's like if Kamala got in there, I think that's probably what people realize. We cannot go on like this. Our country's not going to survive. Our country's going to fracture, and we're going to become a third world totalitarian. The American experiment with democracy, and it's going to be over if Kamala Harris won, or actually if Hillary Clinton had won. And, I guess people don't realize the stakes, or they don't care, like with the harm from illegal immigration. They live in their gated communities. They don't care. They don't care. And we need people who do care about our country and our people, like I do. But, I didn't win, and I can't run again. It's just not, unless I got money to do it. And Holt hasn't done anything outrageous. I think people are disappointed and are expecting more out of her, but I don't think she's crossed in the dark side overtly the way Bales did, or others. Maybe she will. I don't know, but I just can't. I can't run against her. She's not. I don't think Janice Holt's a bad person anyway. But so yeah, I'm not. I don't have any intention. I mean, for me to run again. The funny thing is, like, people's like, God told me to run, and then they lose. It's like, oh, there's that guy that did Super Spreader. Was it Steve Frecht? I forget his name. He's trying to do like praise and worship in Canada, and they're trying to like close down his services, in Canada. But he ran for Congress and failed, and it seems like God was moving him to do that, to open doors. It's like that looks like, but a lot of people, it's like, what does that say about God? If you ran, I don't like to say, blame God for, God told me to run. What does that mean? Does that mean you're in God's candidate? You're going to win? I don't like people saying stuff like that. But I mean, for me to run, I'd have to have money for one thing, and God would have to come down. "Hey, Stephen, I want you to run again," because I'm not going to do it. I can't. Um, Janice, I just this it's just not. I probably would. You'd say third time's a charm. Well, like I said, if the Lord wants me to run again, I'd have to hear His voice, and I'd have to have the money to do it. I can't even run that stupid Texas. I don't have anything to enter into it, but I don't like this. I need help. Something a little like that. You're supposed to file. I don't have any money, but you're supposed to file this. I guess it's good to keep people, but the system doesn't work very well, and then people can hide the money and how they use it and spend it anyway, or be dishonest about it. So anyway, I can't run. I'm going to be focusing on, what am I doing right now? The church, preaching, and I got drafts of books that are almost done. Hopefully, I've published several books this year, but yeah, I'm doing the lives of the 12 apostles. I think that we need to get the church back to where it began, back with the testimony of the apostles. So I got my Abdius of Babylon books, and I might do Ethiopian Abdius, which is, so you have Latin Abdius, which is the further Acts of the 12 apostles. There's like an Ethiopian version of it, which is, some of the stories are kind of outlandish, but some are very interesting. But anyway, just put the traditions out there and let people judge for themselves. Probably all the information that we know with more of historical certitude would be in Eusebius's church history. But there are other traditions that are probably historical, but I think it's important. We need to get back to the basics of the faith, and one of the ways we do that is getting back to the apostolic witness. So I'm doing this project, the three pillars of the faith, about James, the brother of Jesus, Peter, and John, and what they represent. And they represent different things that are foundational. So James represents the power of prayer, Peter, proclamation, John, prophecy. And there's other aspects of their life, I think, that are, like I said, foundational. So we need spiritual renewal. And about Trump's, I guess we're in 7 months. There's certain things that he hasn't done yet that I think need to be done, and we need to be throwing Democrats in jail for what they did the past 4 years. They have to, and then people that have been hurt by this coup and trying to destroy Trump and all this, like me and others, we need restitution, and we need justice. And we haven't, I'm kind of disappointed with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Said, it might look like we're sitting around with our thumb up our butt and not doing nothing, but I assure you, we're really on it, and the day will come. The day will come in the distant future. We can't say when, maybe the far distant. We're going to take action. We're going to take strong action against all these criminal acts the Democrat Party is. Now we're going to hold these people accountable. Eventually, just don't worry about it. We're going to do it. Someday, way out there in the wild blue yonder, eventually we'll hold these people accountable. And it's like, I don't trust them anymore. I don't trust Kash Patel or Dan Bongino, because Democrats work real fast on their, stupid January 6th commission, all this fraud. They destroyed the evidence of their criminal activities, which is illegal. And there hasn't been any accountability yet. We need to have accountability. But God has delivered and saved this country, but we need to take decisive action. They're not taking it yet. I don't know what the deal is, because the Democrats, I guarantee, we had innocent people, all the grandmas. Oh, you went into the Capitol and took a selfie, kick down their, they're doing it, kicking down their door at 3:30 in the morning and dragging them off by their hair, screaming, having them in the underwear or their pajamas in the street, and everybody in the neighborhood waking up and what's going on. The reign of terror we had in the past 4 years, and these outrages these people committed. And apparently with impunity. I mean, they fired a lot of these people. That's it. They need to go to prison. And I don't know what Dan Bongino and Kash are waiting on, but we really, really need action, accountability. And one of the reasons why they do this is so they never dare do this again. And another thing we have to do is Victor Davis Hanson was talking about this. It's like we have to defeat the Democrats decisively 3 terms in a row. But if you defeat them, they just overturn elections. They would have been defeated 3 times in a row. Nixon won the election against Kennedy. They stole that. And then Nixon wins again. And then you have this Watergate fraud. And then we have Trump wins. They steal that election. We need an election integrity too. It's just, don't insult my intelligence and say Joe Biden, President Poopy Pants, falling down on his. I mean, he's in advanced state of dementia when they installed him as president. They act like we're the ones with the problem. You know, they went after me and many other people. Let's go after them now. Turnabout's fair play. And we're talking about the survival of the republic that these people attempted to destroy. They thought that they were going to throw Trump up charges, throw Trump in jail. You know, they got so desperate they tried to blow his brains off. Probably the CIA and Secret Service trying to kill the duly elected president of the United States, the legitimate president who won in 2020, trying to prevent him from taking office again. And then Dan Bongino and Kash Patel can't do anything about these things. And they know full well what went on and what happened. And they're also, Kash Patel, you know, went after him in a lot of ways, a lot of other people. So, yeah, I can't run again, and I focus on preaching and doing the Lord's work, and pray the Lord provides. I have to have faith in the Lord that God provides all of our needs according to His riches and glory in Christ Jesus. And I can't get involved in running for office in politics. We hope that there are good people. Like J.D. Vance seems to be pretty good. I just don't know. We need people of faith in there, but not phonies and hypocrites and frauds like Mike Johnson and Mike Pence. So anyway, the important thing is spiritual awakening and revival. And the reason why we're involved in politics is to protect our ability to live our faith and to proclaim the gospel. And that's what the Democrats want to take away from us, because they're atheists and they want to create, you know, a Marxist state. Look at them. It's pretty overt and obvious. So let's stand for freedom and be involved. But like Jesus says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of His righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto you. So thank you, and God bless you.